So I'm here with a smallish book haul. I feel like my reading tastes are changing again. As we already know, I'm in my slow book era, but I think I'm also leaning more towards older epic fantasy, or epic fantasy with a focus on hard magic systems, complex worlds and some romance. So I went to, and what I'm finding is my TBR shelves are predominantly YA, and I'm stepping slightly further away from YA recently, and therefore I wanted to add some adult books to my shelves. So I went to Waterstones the other day and picked up a few books. One of them I've already soft DNF'd, so that's really annoying and sad. I'll start with that one. It is Saint Death's Daughter by C.S.E. Cooney, and interestingly enough, the author of this is actually also an audiobook narrator and therefore narrates the audiobook for her own book, which is very cool. And she's also the narrator slash author is also a poet originally, or as well, but that's possibly where it hasn't worked for me so far. It's very wordy, super verbose and purpley, and it's a little bit difficult to suss out what it is the author's trying to say. This is not a book review, so just move on, Sophia. This is quite a long book, and it, as the name would suggest, follows Saint Death's daughter. So essentially we follow Lainey, or Miscellaneous is her full name, who is a necromancer but also is allergic to violence. So when she is around violent acts or she hears about violent acts, she has, she might start vomiting, or she might start having a migraine, or her nose might start bleeding, or she might start having what she calls echo scars, so the wounds that she's seeing on a person start appearing on herself. So just fascinating world, fascinating magic system, a little bit of romance, maybe a little bit too light actually, but really where I was struggling is getting past the actual writing style. It's not a bingeable book, and I think that's what I was looking for. So I have DNF'd it. I'm going to call it a soft DNF for now, I think, and I might well come back to it in dribs and drabs, but we'll see. I just feel sad about DNFing a book I literally just bought, and I bought on a whim, having never heard of it before, but there you go. The book that I'm moving on to reading next is Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. This is a book that's been on my radar for quite a while. It's historical fantasy about, well, as the name suggests, the Sorcerer to the Crown, like the lead sorcerer in England, and this is in Regency London. So 1800s, I think. Don't quote me, I'm not good at history. Either way, it's a period drama, essentially, but our Sorcerer to the Crown is a black man, and therefore he is facing a lot of racism. He's also adopted, so he is, he's taking over from his father, his adopted father, so there's all that scandal that he has to deal with as well, and that's as much as I know right now. And then we have The Queens of Innis, Leah by Tessa Grattan. Again, a book that has been on my radar for quite some time. Elle read this, I think a few years ago now, and she said that it was kind of slow and kind of boring, and for that reason I might really like it. So I decided to pick it up, and I will be giving it a go. I don't really know what it's about. What is it about? So it's three daughters taking over as the Queens of Innis Leah in a land where their father, the king, has drained Innis Leah of its wild magic. I'm hoping there's some romance in there as well, but I'm not 100% sure. Then we have Phoenix Extravagant, which I've been aware of for quite a while. I've heard really good reviews of this. It is queer, which I love. It follows Gien Jebi. Isn't a fighter or a subversive, they just want to paint, so it follows a non-binary character, and I think it has to do with a robot dragon. So, and art, and I don't know. And it's narrated by Emily Wu Zeller, who I really enjoy her narration, so looking forward to that. And then we have the Moon Day Letters by Emmy Itaranta. I could be pronouncing that wrong, I'm really sorry. Anyway, so this is a sci-fi fantasy told in an epistolary style, and I actually quite like that. I've discovered this year, so it's kind of, it's not all letters, I think it's some letters and some ordinary narrative, but it follows Sol and their earthborn wife, who are trying to solve some kind of a mystery. It's the kind of book that I don't really want to know too much about it going into it, other than it's sci-fi fantasy, it's adult, and it's got some letters in it, as the name of the book suggests. So that's that. The other reason for doing this video, because it's otherwise pretty short, not that there's anything wrong with that, is if you have any recommendations for me of adult fantasy romance books with slightly more complex style magic systems and or world building, then let me know down in the comments. I would be most grateful. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks, bye.